Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the CSC. I am your host, Tim Brown, and I appreciate all of you being here today. And here in the CSC, the confident speaking space, our goal is to help people become more confident and effective communicators in every aspect of their lives. No matter what it is they may be doing or trying to accomplish, we want to help them accomplish that. And here in this space, our goal is to provide a safe environment for people to be able to practice their ability to communicate on a deeper level, to be more confident and more effective as they interact with people in different environments, whether it's in their families, whether it's in their homes. And when I say family, it could be extended family, your cousins, your aunts and uncles, but even at home with your children or on the job, when you go to an interview, a business presentation, every aspect of life requires us to communicate and interact with people on various levels. And in this space, we want to help you understand how to do that differently and become more comfortable doing that so that you're able to take advantage of the opportunities that may come your way. Because opportunities are all around us, but we have to be prepared and have the ability to communicate and have those interactions comfortably so that we're able to present confidence to those that are listening to us speak. If you aren't confident in the things that you're saying and presenting to people, they won't be confident in it either. And that can potentially cause you to lose or miss out on an opportunity that's waiting for you to grab it and take a hold of it. So we want you to get to a place that no matter where you are, no matter who you're speaking to, you can speak with confidence and also effectiveness in that moment so that you're able to present the best version of yourself to whoever may be in front of you. And that's our goal. And some of the things that we focus on, our pillars, are helping us understand how to utilize the 4 P's of speaking. We focus on pitch, pace, power, and pause. All of those affect the dynamics of the way that you present the information that you're sharing with people. And it has an effect on how willing people are to listen to you over time. So we teach that and we help you practice that in this space. Every time you speak, whether it's in a space, even with your friends, I want you to have the mindset that it's an opportunity for you to refine your ability to communicate with people. Practice the 4 P's when you're speaking to your friends. It's an opportunity in a safe environment. Even then, they don't have to know you're practicing, but in your mind, you know that you are practicing and getting to that place. And we also focus on conciseness. That's something it's important to have. We need to develop our ability to be concise in our communication. If we don't, we will find ourselves in situations where you have a lot of important information to share and you don't get to share some of the most important parts or points of your thoughts that you have in mind because you don't have the ability to be concise. So in here, we do challenges where we have practical exercises to help you begin to understand what it feels like to not have a lot of time to share enough information to get your point across. So conciseness. And then we also want you to get comfortable being uncomfortable, learning to think on your feet. So no matter what someone may ask you, no matter what someone may put before you, you have the ability to process what's necessary and allow your mind to tap into all of that wisdom and knowledge that you have stored up through the years to be able to provide a relevant response to any question that someone may present to you, even if it's to say, well, you know what, I don't have an answer to that question. It gives me something to think about. And once I get an answer, I'll get back with you and let you know what I think. Sometimes that's the best answer, but it still can be confident and effective even with that type of approach. So those are just a few things that I wanted to make sure that you understood about the space and what it is that we do here in the confident speaking space. And what I'll do is I'll go ahead and get into the conversation today because I do want to give as many people an opportunity to share your thoughts as possible because composure is something that is definitely important in life when we think about our ability to be confident and effective communicators. And I think we have a good idea and understanding of what composure means. So what I'll do is I'll begin with the definition of composure. I like to have the baseline, as I always say, having a baseline of understanding so that when we discuss it, we know that we're discussing it from the same perspective. Many people get caught up in debates and they're debating about a concept or a topic and they're debating from different perspectives and they don't have that baseline of understanding to be able to say, well, yes, we're talking about oranges, but I'm talking about the fact that oranges have this peel on it. I'm not talking about the inside of the orange. So are we talking about the same thing? So for composure, maintaining your composure, the why and how to maintain your composure, something that we absolutely need to be able to make sure that we're able to do. Composure, according to Webster, is a settled state of mind, a sedateness, a calmness, a tranquility. And it's also composition, combination, an arrangement, or an order. So again, composure is a settled state of the mind, sedateness, calmness, tranquility, composition, the combination, arrangement, or order. Now, when we think about that, it means it talks about being settled, settled in our mind. It talks about having a sense of calmness and tranquility. And we know that life comes at us fast. There's a lot of things that happen that change quickly, and you have to have an ability to understand how to settle your mind, how to remain calm and be in that state of tranquility, because if not, things can go off the rail very fast. But I want to go just a little bit further and go to what composure comes from. Composure is derived from the word compose, and compose means to place in proper form, settle into a quiet state, to calm, to adjust. So, what I want you to think about, place in its proper form. If we compose, let's look at a puzzle, for example. You take a puzzle and it has all these pieces, no matter how big it is, 500 pieces, 1,000 pieces, 10 pieces. You have all these different pieces that have to come together to be placed in their proper form and make adjustments so that it is able to be presented properly. And when we think about our state of mind, we need to have an ability to compose our state of mind. Think about composing your knowledge, your will, and your emotions when you're in a given situation, much like a composer has to arrange music for a symphony. If a composer doesn't do a good job of making sure the right instruments are playing at the right time in the right way, the symphony is going to sound terrible, much like our behavior is going to come across terribly if we don't compose or form our knowledge, our will, and our emotions appropriately. If your knowledge is where it needs to be, but your will wants to try to defend yourself, or your will wants to try to impose what you feel is superior knowledge to someone, is going to cause a decomposition, or it's going to deform the way that you're presenting yourself from a character perspective. If your emotions isn't in line with your will and your knowledge, it can potentially decompose the way that you're presenting yourself and affect the way that you're represented from a character perspective. So they all need to be in alignment, your knowledge, your will, and your emotions, in order for you to be able to remain composed in a situation that might be high stress, a situation that might be uncomfortable or awkward for you, where you feel as though you need to defend yourself. And I'm going to share just a few examples of different scenarios where we may lose our composure. And it isn't just about someone making us upset or angry. There's several times and moments where we can lose our composure, and we have to be mindful of that, understanding the importance of maintaining our composure and just how impactful it can be on our lives when we lose our composure. But when we get to a place that we're able to maintain our composure, it shows emotional stability. It shows that we have a level of self control. It also demonstrates a level of strength that not everyone has. Maintaining your composure is an easy thing that's often hard to do for a lot of people. When someone says something to us and we feel that they're being disrespectful, instinctively we want to lash out, and we want to give them a piece of our mind to show them that we have the strength, the knowledge, and the ability to make them feel just as bad, if not even worse, than they may have made us feel, even if we don't know that they did it intentionally or not. But when we take the time and understand how to maintain our composure in these situations, that emotional stability, self control, and that strength is going to give you the ability and opportunity to become an example for people that are watching the situation. Because remember, someone is always watching. Someone sees everything that we do, even when we don't think they do. If you've ever ridden or driving down the road, and you see someone in the car next to you, and they're just off in their own little world, and they're digging in their nose. They feel like, well, I'm in my car, no one is looking, and you just happen to look over and see that they're having a moment as you're passing by. Someone sees everything we do, even when we don't think that's happening. But from the perspective of maintaining your composure, the emotional stability, self control, and the strength is going to serve you extremely well in your lifetime when you get to a point that you allow that to lead and dictate the way that you respond and conduct yourself in the various situations of life that are going to come at you. They are going to happen. So here are a few situations that you might consider during an argument. That's an easy one. When we get caught up in situations where someone says something that we don't like, they do something that we feel is inappropriate, and they question us or challenge us about it, it's easy to get excited and start yelling, to start name calling in those situations. That's a great time that people often lose their composure. And when I say great, not necessarily a great time, but that's a common time that people will lose their composure during an argument. When you're receiving negative feedback, people often lose their cool when someone gives them negative feedback. Most of us don't want someone to tell us that we didn't do something right, or make us understand or point out a flaw that we may have. And that can cause many of us to lose composure at certain points in time, depending on other circumstances going on in our lives. In a crisis, if there's a natural disaster, or you have an accident, or something comes up that causes you to feel panicked, you feel a bit disoriented. So in a crisis, people lose their composure, but you absolutely need to learn to maintain your composure in that crisis. Your knowledge, will, and emotions need to be composed and settled in the proper form so that you're able to think and process. Okay, there's a crisis now. How do I get out of this crisis? Because if you lose your composure, you no longer have the ability to understand what the steps are going to be for you to resolve that crisis or to be able to manage it if you don't have the ability to fix it in that moment. A decision has to be made on some level, but you need to have your composure in check in order to think through that clearly and properly. Financial problems, people, bankruptcy, you lose money, you lose a job, it's easy. There's going to be the potential for someone to lose their composure because now you're stressed. How am I going to pay my bills? There's frustration because you can't do the things that you wanted to do. And it leads to situations where you're having conversations with people and they say something, they may be trying to have a little fun, but because in your mind, you're thinking about the fact that you just lost your job and you don't have the money to pay for something that's due in 2 weeks, you're agitated. So, what they thought was a joke in your mind is a stab at their situation. And now, because you've lost your composure, you say something that you didn't really want to say or that you didn't really mean to say. You hurt their feelings. And now you potentially damage the relationship because you didn't take the time to think about what was going on, to be emotionally stable, to be aware of the situation, and to be attentive to the intent behind what it was that they were saying. So it's important. Public speaking, family conflicts, and even surprise events that come up. Understand that maintaining our composure isn't just for negative events or circumstances. We need to make sure that we maintain our composure even in the positive situations. If someone gives you good news, sometimes it's easy for us to lose all sense of sensibility, to lose all sensibility. And in our excitement, we go and do something or say something to someone that we should not have said out of the excitement that we're experiencing in that moment. So that's something to think about. Make sure that no matter what's going on, that you maintain your composure so that you're able to implement your knowledge, your will, and your emotions to stay on top of that situation so that you're able to move forward appropriately without offending someone, without destroying a relationship that you may potentially have with someone because you didn't make sure everything was in alignment the way that it needed to be. And some of the risks when we think about losing our composure, what can potentially happen if you lose your composure? And not just one time. It could take one time for you to lose your composure and you completely damage your credibility depending on the circumstance. However, most people tend to be forgiving if there isn't something that's on the line that one moment or one time that you lose your composure means that's the end. There are no takebacks and there is no forgiveness in that moment. And keep in mind, they may forgive you, but they may not give you the opportunity again. So, some of the risks of losing our composure and especially allowing it to become a habit. The first risk is that it becomes a natural behavior for you. You allow it to become a part of what it is that you do. We form habits, and people have conversations about habits quite often. But if losing your composure becomes a habit and something that you do on a regular basis, you're going to put yourself in a position to lose a lot of opportunities. No one wants to deal with a hothead. No one wants to be involved with someone that if they say something that might be a little bit challenging, they run the risk of this person losing their cool and flying off the handle and either saying something or doing something that is totally out of line, that might be offensive to them or someone else that has to deal with the outcome of their negative emotions that they're feeling in that moment. It can destroy relationships if we get into a habit of losing our composure in situations. If you are in a relationship with someone, you can't expect anyone to be comfortable sharing sensitive information with you or being honest with you if every time they do, again, you fly off the handle and you lose your composure and you begin to lash out or say things or do things that are inappropriate. So we have to be mindful of that. When you continuously lose your composure, it damages your well being. It affects your well being because the stress of always being angry and upset about everything, anytime something happens, and if you think about it, the things that we do on a regular basis, we begin to do them more and more, and it becomes a part of our character. It becomes a part of our personality, and other people will begin to recognize that, and you won't. And you'll begin to wonder, or you'll begin to recognize that the people who may have spent time around you begin to spend less and less time around you because you've developed this pattern of behavior that says that you are someone that is highly volatile. And again, who wants to deal with a hothead or a person that loses their composure in the midst or the presence of a little bit of adversity and not understand how to handle themselves appropriately? Now, if we get to a place where we begin to maintain our composure, it will help us reduce stress because you understand that we don't need to sweat the small stuff. Even if it seems big, there's no reason to sweat it, to make a big deal about it. You have a choice to make. Someone presents a challenge to you. There's some adversity that you're faced with. Why get stressed about it? Stay cool and think about it. Use your knowledge. Use your will to stay focused on what it is that's going to help you resolve this situation and stay emotionally stable so that you're able to not get stressed out because people stress kills and it needs to be avoided at all costs. And the more we're able to maintain our composure, the better we are able to reduce the stress levels that we have based on the circumstances that may come up in life. It will allow you to make better decisions when you maintain your control or composure. It improves your decision making. If we lose our cool and we get caught up in this mindset where our emotions take over, because most times when someone loses their composure, it's emotional. And your parents, friends, or someone has probably told you at some point in life, never make decisions while you're angry. You don't even want to make decisions while you're overly excited. So don't be emotional when you're making decisions. And when you maintain your composure, your decision making improves exponentially because you're approaching it with clarity of thought. You're approaching it from a rational and logical perspective, which allows you to have a better understanding of the circumstances. It puts you in a mindset that you take the time to assess the circumstances so that you're able to understand what you're actually dealing with in that moment. And it also, another benefit of maintaining your composure is that it enhances your reputation and your influence. When you become someone that people know as an individual that maintains your composure in high stress situations, that you maintain your composure in spite of adversity, people will begin to trust you more. People will begin to look to you for guidance and direction, and it will allow you to become that person that people lean on when they have challenges and struggles in their life because they know that you have a secret sauce. There's something about you that's different that they don't quite understand. So don't be surprised when people begin to come to you with questions about circumstances that may be unrelated to what they really want. But just know that if you don't have a reputation of someone that maintains your composure or someone that is reliable, that has a strong, that's highly emotionally stable, people aren't going to come to you. But maintaining your composure is going to enhance that reputation and your influence because people appreciate that. When you see, think about it, people that you know who are always cool, calm, and collected, that maintain their composure no matter what's going on, we naturally have a level of respect and admiration for the ability that they have to do that because it doesn't always come easy unless we take the time to figure out how to do that. Now, with that, I want to say or share just a few things to think about in order to maintain your composure. How are you going to maintain your composure? And there's two aspects of it. It's maintaining your composure in the moment, which we need to do. And in order to maintain your composure in the moment, you want to make sure you get to a place where you learn to take a deep breath. Take two, take three if you need to, so that you can allow yourself to calm down. It's your nervous system that gets amped up, and your brain sends this adrenaline through your body that's preparing you to respond, that's preparing you to deal with it however you need to deal with it, whether it's to run, whether it's to fight. The body just knows that you need to prepare. So those deep breaths help you maintain in the moment. And if you notice, there's a pattern. A lot of the things that we talk about in this space and in other spaces, taking deep breaths is so important in life overall because it affects so many things. The deep breaths. So maintaining your composure in the moment, take that deep breath. If you need to step away for a moment, if you need to turn your back so they don't see you close your eyes and take those deep breaths, you need to do it. I would much rather you turn your back and take the deep breaths than say something, lashing out, and destroy a relationship or lose an opportunity that could have changed your life in that moment. And also, I want you to focus on solutions. When you're in the moment and you feel like you may be about to lose your composure, instead of getting upset and thinking about what it is you don't like about the situation or what the person said, focus on how to fix it. What's the solution? How can we move forward from this situation right now? Try to understand, what are they looking for? What do they need? How can I help them? What could they have possibly meant aside from what it is that I felt they meant? Assume the best intentions. There's a tendency for us to focus on what the worst possibility is. Start choosing to think that they may have had good intentions and you just didn't understand what it was at that time. And that can help you in the moment. So deep breathing and focusing on solutions in the moment to maintain your composure. Now, over time, there can be a process. Establishing better time management skills can help you maintain your composure, believe it or not. Many times we get agitated when we feel like we're running late. Being late creates anxiety and it can create agitation. If you are already running late and someone in front of you is driving slow and you know they need to be driving 10 miles per hour faster, you start shaking the steering wheel, screaming, yelling, and calling them all kinds of names. And heaven forbid, they pull up to a traffic light that turns yellow, and you know it takes 10 seconds for yellow to become red, and they slam on the brakes and they're 2 feet in front of the line. And you get agitated and you begin to say things. And many people will have outbursts. Some people get out the car, and you just never know that if you fall into this black hole of losing your composure, it can go very badly. So keep that in mind. Better time management. And I'll give you an example how I didn't manage my time the way that I should have. Just a couple of weeks ago, I was going somewhere. I filmed high school football games on Friday nights, and I was going to the parking lot, and there's an attendant there, and it's reserved parking. But I've been filming games at this place for 4 years, and the person at the gate, he asked me my name. I told him, and he said, "I don't see you on the list." And I said, "Sir, well, can you call someone?" He had a walkie-talkie in his hand. The game started at 7:30, and we're at the gate at about 7:15. "Sir, can you call someone?" And he said, "No, I can't call anyone." So I say, "Well, sir, who's on the other line?" Because I'm guessing that if you push the button and call someone, someone on the other line will probably be able to help us. And he's like, "No, sir, I need you to leave and go to this other parking lot." So I began to try and call the coach, but at 7:15, the head coach of the football team is not going to pick up my call at that point in time. So I just submitted to the moment, and I got agitated in that moment because I was running a little bit behind, which meant that I was going to have to spend a little more effort to try to get up there and get set up to film on time. But what I had to realize was that it wasn't his fault. He was doing his job. It was my fault that I didn't manage my time the way that I needed to. I got caught up. So that caused me to feel a little agitation, and he may have felt a little bit of it. I wasn't ugly, everyone, just to make sure you know. I was still very courteous the entire time, but what I felt inside was the agitation and the anxiety because I didn't want to be late doing what I was hired to do. So better time management can help you maintain your composure in challenging situations. Becoming more adaptable, because there are going to be a lot of unexpected events and circumstances in life. We have to learn to be more adaptable and accept the fact that we won't always see the ideal situation in life. And when we do that, it puts us in a place that we're able to remain calm. We're able to put the pieces together and think through it and not just fall apart. Get honest feedback from people. When you have exchanges with someone, ask people that may have seen it or explain the situation to someone that you trust to give you honest feedback. Sometimes we don't realize what we've done or how we may have affected someone. And we need to be able to have that honest feedback from people to help us see the things that we don't see about ourselves or may not even want to see about ourselves. It's important. And that's something that's going to help you over time get to a place that you're able to better stay under control and maintain your composure in these situations and circumstances that will change constantly. And the last thing I would say is to practice, practice, practice. And that's to be mindful in the moment when you have circumstances that challenge you, that make you feel uncomfortable. You got to practice. Be mindful about it and be intentional in the moment. You've got to tell yourself, okay, when you take that deep breath and you focus on solutions in the moment, that is now an opportunity for you to practice and you're able to think through, all right, this is how I'm feeling right now. I want to tell them this and I may want to call them that. However, this is an opportunity for me to show that I'm either the bigger person or that I'm mentally stable enough, my my emotional stability is in a place that I'm able to manage this situation from a logical perspective and figure out how can we fix it. So it's practice. It takes practice. We have to be intentional in those moments because you don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden have patience. You don't just wake up one day and all of a sudden you're just this super composed person. It's the result of life experiences that push us and challenge us and give us the opportunity to begin to develop those abilities and develop those mindsets so that we're able to put them into practice because people are always watching. So make sure that you get to a place that we learn to maintain our composure no matter what's going on. Because if we fall apart, we're going to miss the opportunity to find a solution, and things are only going to get worse from there. So, with that said, I want to go ahead and open it up for conversation and any questions, any additional feedback that anyone may have before we go into the challenges a little later on. So,
This have been like a master class, and what my takeaway is everybody repeated practice, be kind, do a self check of where you are and where you want to go. About public speaking, not everybody is born to speak fluently, but with practice, you can arrive there. Be intentional when you speak, and always, always be authentic. Because authenticity is what people are looking for. We all can look in YouTube, Google, and search materials, but what come from within you, doing that inner work, is what is resonating from your heart and your soul and your knowledge and your experience. So maintain that positive composure, keep a positive mindset, and always, always be respectful of others without judgment. Just embrace others people journey, because we all are here to learn, as Tim said, and this space is growing and growing by day. I've seen Tim in 2 years then. I know him, and I'm lucky enough to co-host when I can. How he's impacting people, and people from all walk of life. So never be afraid to request for that mic. We either or you talk or you listen, you still add values and gain values. So thank you for being here, and I appreciate every single one of you.
absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that, Donika. Salafa, you want to add anything or share anything before we go to the challenges?
Yeah, I want to say that self confidence can be acquired easily by facing your troubles, by facing people, by encouraging yourself all the time to speak, to deal with others, to communicate with strangers, try to break your shyness. And it's okay to make faults. It is not the end of the world. And thank you for co-hosting Tim and for your amazing space. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you, Salafa, as well. So we just have to get in there and try it. Take chances. Be willing to take the risks. If we aren't willing to take risks in life, we don't have the opportunity to get the rewards. So we want you to get comfortable being uncomfortable in this space. We want you to practice, practice, practice. Don't take my word for anything. Still continue to learn, continue to grow. Look for additional resources. There's very few things that are new in the world. There's nothing new under the sun. What matters most is the application, your understanding, and how you're able to transfer the knowledge and wisdom that you may have and apply it in your life. And I want to see the application. I want to see you growing and doing things that you didn't imagine yourself being able to do because you can. And all of that begins with our ability to communicate. I remember working for a speech therapy company years ago, and he's in the space now, Brock Roberts. I used to work with he and his wife years ago, and we worked with preschool children. And for many of them, what I learned is that some of the children would have behavioral problems because they weren't able to communicate well. People weren't able to understand what they were trying to say. No one was understanding the point they were trying to make. So they would act out and get the attention that they were looking for because they didn't know how else to communicate their thoughts and feelings. So our ability to communicate confidently and effectively impacts every aspect of our lives. And that's why I spend so much time and feel so committed to doing this, because I want that for all of you, for everyone that comes to this space. That's why I want the space to grow, so that more people can have the opportunity to have the mindset that they can do it, they can accomplish it, that you can open doors to change your life on so many levels and in so many ways. But you have to believe in yourself to be willing to put yourself out there to do that. And this is a space and a place that you have the opportunity to come in here and begin to speak your mind, to share your thoughts, and begin to embrace what it is that you believe. Some people won't speak up because they aren't comfortable enough in what they believe. So I want you to understand the importance in believing in your thoughts. Own your thoughts, own your opinions. No one can take that away from you. Even if they don't agree, they're still yours, because someone may agree, and you never know whose life you can change with the words that you share. You could literally save someone's life with your thoughts and your perceptions or perspectives about things. So always have that in mind. Remember, think big picture. There's always more at stake. There's unintended consequences that happen when we lose our composure, potentially. And then there are a lot of benefits and potential gains when we maintain our composure, because we get to be an example for the people that are watching. We get to improve our health and well being because we reduce the stress by not allowing ourselves to go down this path of constantly losing our composure when things don't go our way. It allows us to make better decisions when we maintain our composure. It allows us to have clarity of thought when we learn to maintain our composure. It enhances your reputation and your influence when you learn to maintain your composure. Because remember, someone is always watching. I'll never forget, my uncle told me, he said, son, someone sees everything you do. Why did he tell me that? He told me that because I was driving down the street one day, and I didn't want to drive all the way around the block to get to a parking lot that was 50 feet away if I went down a wrong way street, a one way street the wrong way. And I looked around and I didn't see any cars. I didn't see any police. So I turned down the one way street. And my uncle saw me about a week later and he said, son, someone sees everything you do. And I was like, oh my goodness, wow. You know, how, I was floored. And I was a youngster, maybe 18, 19 at the time, but I never forgot that. So we're talking almost 40 years later, 30 years later, that I still remember that, because it's important for us to understand someone sees everything we do. They see our good behavior and they also see our bad behavior. So we don't want to cause a decomposition of our credibility or our character because we don't have the ability to maintain our composure when situations get difficult or challenging. Develop that by learning to breathe deeply in the moment, focus on the solutions in the moment and not what you perceive as a problem, but then to get better at managing your time, which is one of the ways to develop it over time, is time management. Because when you're running late, that can lead to anxiety and agitation. Become more adaptable. Life is going to throw things at you, so we have to adapt and adjust to the situations that are confronting us. Get honest feedback from people that will tell you the truth. You don't need your mother or your parents or someone that's just going to say, "Oh, baby, yeah, you're good. You're a beautiful person." You need someone that's going to say, "Oh, you were wrong. That was rude and very inconsiderate what you just said, and you should not have approached them that way." We need honest feedback so we have the ability to correct the areas where we have opportunities to improve. And we have to practice, practice, practice. Nothing gets better if we don't make the commitment to practice. So I just wanted to throw that in there. And now what we'll do is we're going to go to Mike T. So Mike T volunteered to be the first person to do a challenge today. So Mike T. So
Hey,
we,
Tim.
yes, sir. Yes, sir. So what I will do is I'll give you. Well, let me ask you this: do you want to do a question or a random topic? I'll give you the option.
Tim, you're the pro, so whatever you feel like would be the most challenging circumstances to throw me in, stick me in the deep end, and let's go.
Got it. Got it. Well, what I will tell you, it varies from person to person. But
Yeah.
I like the random topic myself. So I'll give you a random topic. And what will happen is at 45 seconds, again, you'll hear the chime. That's just to let you know you have 15 seconds left. Don't let it shake you or rattle you. You just get ready to land the plane at that point because you have 15 seconds. And the time will begin when you do. So when you begin to respond, we'll begin the time. And once you're finished, we're going to give you some feedback. A few people will share some feedback with you. All right.
Okay. Okay.
So the random topic for you, Mike, is panic. Panic.
So, calmness, centeredness, centering would be a healthy response to any form of panic. I don't know that there's anything a person can do in a panic mode that's going to make it better. So just center your thoughts, take that breath, and get ready to go. That's what I have to say.
Hey, somebody turn that off, please.
Do what? Yeah.
Is was that your alarm, Mike?
No,
Yeah, it
Okay,
was.
okay. I
talk
was
about
looking around.
talk about complications, panic. I'm grasping for buttons.
Oh man, I know. I was thinking. I was like, wait a minute, because my alarm sounds like that, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, my alarm shouldn't be going off at 1:14 in the afternoon, especially on a Saturday. But yeah, no worries, no worries. And things happen, and that's a great example how we want to maintain our composure, even in situations like that. That's for some people, that's a mini crisis if the alarm goes off when you didn't expect it. And we have to maintain our composure so that we are able to find the solution. What do I need to do to fix this? Find the button and stop the alarm. Don't panic. Don't make it more than it has to be. And that's a great example. Some people would fall apart in that situation because they felt like they just messed up the space because their alarm went off. And that isn't the case. So just relax, stay composed, stay composed. So Mike, what I'll do is I will ask you first. What do you think about the response? How do you feel about it?
I love it. I love all the circumstances that happened. The person that needed to drop off, the alarm going off, you saying panic. It was like synchronicity times 10. It was perfect. So I love the feedback. And yeah, you just got to roll with the punches sometimes. But being in a panic state of mind usually doesn't help. I mean, there are, I guess, moments when it really is all hands on deck, and you'll know when those are. But for most times, it's take that breath, take the next step. Thanks, Tim.
no problem.
Absolutely. And as I think about it now, when you said that, your random topic was the absolute perfect topic for what just happened in your challenge. I mean,
Yeah.
George was, shared something. So for some people, it's like, okay, wait a minute. I was trying to think of what I wanted to say. Now I've lost my train of thought. The alarm. So you had a perfect example of panic and how to avoid it. So great job, great job. And I love the excitement and the confidence you had about the
Oh, yeah.
response. So let
Thanks,
me
Tim. Thanks, Tim.
absolutely. So Donika, I see your hand. You want to give some feedback?
Yes, I do. That was so beautiful. He was so humble. This is perfect example. Put the oxygen mask first on yourself and don't panic. So great explanation. He started answering the question. He was checking his time, and in the end, even though circumstances happen, he has a nice laughter. He praised himself. So this is how you have to do it. Nothing have to be perfect, but you understand what you have to deliver. Stay on time and be humble. Good job.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I agree. I totally agree. So Lafa,
Yes, I want to say that he has a high self confidence. He is calm and speak with a relaxed way. He was relaxed and he didn't feel with this panic when his phone alarm works. I was concentrating with his speech, but who feels with panic was me because I didn't expect any sound while he is explaining or while he is speaking about that topic. But I thank him a lot. Thank you too.
Absolutely. And you bring up a great point, Salafa. When she mentioned that, when she heard the alarm, it kind of created a little panic for her. So that's a great example of how when you're the speaker, when you're leading the conversation, you have the ability to manage all of that. Remember, I said earlier that you're the thermostat. If things go crazy and you panic, everyone else is going to panic right along with you. But if you maintain your composure, everyone is going to follow you. A team is only as good as its leader. And if you look at the culture of a company, if you look at the dynamics of a team, you can always look to the leadership to decide and determine how they became to act the way that they do. What led them to that point? It's the leader. And when you're speaking, you, in essence, are the leader of that moment and that environment. So great job, Mike, again, for that. And what I will say is, I love the confidence as well that you owned it and you felt like, you know what, I loved it. I felt like I did a great job. And if you don't believe in it, no one else will believe in it either. And people hear your confidence when you feel it inside. And I felt that you were very comfortable with what you said and what you shared. And it sounded as if you had already taken time to think about it because you immediately had three reference points to direct to panic and how people need to be aware of it and manage it and think through it. And I also love the fact that you didn't try to artificially create information to take the full 60 seconds. You knew what you wanted to say, you said it, and you left time on the table because you had said enough. And it was okay to say, that's all I have to share. That's my point. So that's a great example to everyone. Just because you have 60 seconds doesn't mean you have to take 60 seconds, but don't take 30 seconds because you're simply trying to beat the clock. Take as much time as you need to make the most to say as much as possible to make sure you make your point the way that it needs to be made as effectively as possible. So 60 seconds, 30 seconds, take what's needed, but don't feel like you have to take it all. So great job, Mike. But I also want to encourage those of you that may not have spoken and have been to the space before to don't be afraid. Come up and share your thoughts and your perspectives. Get engaged in the conversation. You can't make progress if you aren't willing to make mistakes. So I want you to come up and join the conversations in the future, whether it's doing a challenge or giving feedback, whatever that may look like. We want you to be a part of it as much as you can. So, with that said, I am Tim Brown, host of the Confident Speaking Space, and I absolutely appreciate you being here and hope you have a fantastic rest of the day, evening, or morning, depending on where you are in the world. Until next time.